The monster that killed Lena Blake. Lena wasn't someone I personally knew. She was just one of those kids in school. You knew were there, but didn't talk to. She was a pretty normal girl from what I heard. She had a sister and had a good relationship with her parents. So when she went missing and her parents found multiple things missing from her room, police were hesitant to call it a runaway. But after 2 months of searching, they'd called it a runaway and let it be. She was 17, so there wasn't much they could do. It's legal for someone that age to leave where I live. All her family could do was hope she was okay. No one could get a hold of her, but she could have just changed her number and no one knew. I remember hearing a rumor that she ran away with a teacher after a scandal, but none of the teachers left the town or went missing, so that conclusion was out. Although her sister was determined that Lena hadn't run away. I didn't know her sister myself, but my other brother did. I remember him trying to calm her down over the phone. She was freaking out over something she found. But I know the police had thought anything led to the case. There was no real evidence to her not running away, so most everyone went by their lives normally. One day, however, my family had a cookout with some of the neighbors. The Blakes were there, of course. I was tasked along with my brother to watch the smaller kids as the parents drank and smoked. The kids ended up playing a game of catch with each other, and at one point they lost their ball and it rolled into the woods. So I went in to go search for it so they didn't get lost. It wasn't too deep in that I found the red ball. I walked over and picked it up to take it back. That's when the most horrible stench filled my nose. At first I thought it might just be some animal, but considering the disappearance of Lena, I got curious and followed the scent. It was dark, so I wasn't able to see much, but at one point, I thought it was nothing. But the smell was getting stronger. As I kept searching, that's when I heard sound of something cracking underneath my foot. Terror filled me as I looked down. I waited for the darkness to adjust for my eyes. But I wish I hadn't. I'd stepped on the arm of a dead body. Horribly torn apart body. It was scratched and ripped along the face and body. There wasn't even any blood. It was just dry, destroyed, decomposing. I felt like I was gonna throw up. I backed up and tripped, landing on my ass. I couldn't do anything. I was so shocked. So I just screamed. And I couldn't stop. My brother and my dad found me a few minutes later. My brother got me out of there, and my dad expected the body that I had found. We went back to the party of confused and drunk adults. Everyone went home and we called the police. None of us slept that night. A few days later, the police informed us that the body that I had found had been identified as Lena Blake. Me being the one that found her, the police asked me some questions, but I wasn't much of a help. I just told them that I had smelled something horrible and looked for the source. I wasn't updated on much for the next few days. Then my brother told me that Lena's sister, who I'll call Alice, wanted to talk to me about Lena. I was reluctant, but we met up. Alice led me to a lake near the woods. After a while of standing in silence, she told me, Lena loved this lake. We used to go swimming here every year. I didn't know what to say, but she continued. She told me she was coming here the night she disappeared. She said she had a stressful day of school that day and wanted to cool off. That's why she took her phone and wallet and stuff. She never came back. I asked if that was the case, why no one went to looking for her. She said she didn't know. She was going to continue, but a rustling sound brought our attention to the woods. We decided to follow the rustling in case it was a lost kid. In the woods, I stepped on something. Not a dead body, thank God, but instead it was a backpack. Alice immediately recognized it as Lena's bag she took with her. This was only the start of the confusion. Alice decided to try and call Lena's phone just in case. That's when we heard the faint sound of a default ringtone. We followed the sound and found a phone face down on the grass. When we picked it up, the screen was cracked and broken, like someone had dropped it in a struggle. Then the rustling came back. I positioned myself in front of Alice and picked up the biggest stick that I could find, in case it was a bear or something. But what came out of the bushes was no bear or any animal for that matter. It was humanoid, with skin that stretched over its bones, barely any protection. Its head was misshapen and broken, its legs were long and spindly, and it had 4 of them, along with 2 short arms. Alice screamed, and we attempted to run away. It it then dragged me down by my leg and bit me. Alice was able to fight it off, and we got back to the safety of the sidewalk. Both of us were terrified and shocked and confused, but by the look on her face, she knew as well as I did. That was the monster. The same monster that killed Lena. We didn't tell the police. There was no way they'd believe us. We didn't even tell our parents. It would only worry them. The only person we told was my brother. He believes us. The wounds on Lena had been created by no mere animal. But that still leaves the question. What was that monster that killed Lena Blake? We may never find out, and I'm not sure I ever want to try.